Get your patience because I got to record your guys' class today, which is right off the tail end of the other class, which makes it very difficult because if anything goes wrong, I'm trying to fix it with zero time to do it, right? Because Math 8 is leaving and you guys are arriving and we have a Jenga tower to pick up. So thank you for your patience and those of you who actually engaged in this problem. And if you sat here and did nothing, you're selling yourself short. You're not giving yourself that opportunity to make mistakes when it's safe to do so. So, Chloe, what are you thinking first with like the comparison of the situations? How are they different?
Okay, so the first one, situation one, the person with the M name, don't want to...
Myra.
Yeah, Myra. Is that your name? No.
Yeah, because that starts with a J.
I'm trying to figure out Chloe's sister has 15 marbles, and that's 10 less than that.
So actually, the first thing you identified is actually, and I should have asked this question first, but that's what both situations have in common, is that M has 15 marbles, right? Myra has 15 marbles, and Myra has 15 marbles. And then, go ahead and keep going.
So, that's 10. On the first one, 15 is 10 less.
Ooh. Chloe identified that this, is that a pronoun, adverb? What is the thing that references something else? A part of speech?
It's a word.
When you say like that, adverb.
Is pronoun. Adverb because the noun's a person, place, or thing.
Okay, so this is the 15. On your paper, what I would be expecting to see is what Chloe's saying for us is 15 is, and is means equals. Do you know how to write the rest of what they said?
10 less, so minus 10.
Yeah, ooh, careful.
Oh.
Is 10 less than Dahlia. Guys, this than is the most dangerous word here. This tells us that we are subtracting 10 from D, right, or whatever Dahlia is. So 15 is 10 less than Dahlia. So we take 10 away from Dahlia. So if 15 is what Dahlia had, but we took 10 away, how many did Dahlia have? She had 25. Because if this 15 is 10 less than what Dahlia has. So Dahlia must have 25 for us to take away 10 and get 15. So Dahlia's got 25. Whereas, over here, Nina, Cave, what's different about this situation?
It's saying that Dahlia has less than Myra.
Dahlia has 10 less than Myra. So when they say Dahlia has, that's D equals, right? Dahlia has. Guys, I'm expecting this stuff to be written on your paper, so if it's not, you might want to catch up. Dahlia has 10 less than what? Myra. And we know what Myra has. 15. Haha. Now this equals 5. So these are very different situations. One where Dahlia ends up with 25, the other where Dahlia ends up with 5. Daniel, you with me? Okay, because I haven't seen your eyes in a couple minutes. So look at the next problem on your paper that involves the dollhouse, and see if you guys can talk through how to write out some expressions like that while I pass out some papers. I do not know. Oh, should you? Sure. Do we need to check it again? Do we need to look at 526 again? If you looked at it yesterday, we can put it back up for a couple minutes. Do this worksheet right now. Like, do the question that we're looking at, so then we'll go back.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Highlight things, write down expressions to determine the words in the math.
So one long board, 7 inches longer
label things nicely. So like a long board could be L, a short board could be S. Walking in circles.
Ow.
Hey, oh, here we go.
7 is bigger than the total.
No, Landon today.
No, he won't be there this morning.
Can I use your highlighter? I want to use my highlighter. Wait. Just to underline the head. Oh, okay.
We have the short boards. 7 inches.
So there are 4 points total. Yeah. I know that.
One long board. So I probably start with L equals. One long board. L equals. So on your paper, at a minimum, you should have L equals written down. And then we're going to try to create a statement, an expression for the other thing they told us.
43? Where'd you get 43
Where'd
from?
you get 43 from?
We're not on C.
Lucy,
We're on our homework.
how could I write out? So we got L equals.
Don't even look at that.
Yeah,
Don't even look at it.
Ava, you with me? You good?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out the math.
You're just giving your brain a second to be heavy. So Lucy, how could I write out 7 inches longer than? Just give me that part of the problem. Thank you for saying that. Give me your eyes up here. This is not an inequality. This does not use one of these statements. Longer than could mean one of these. If I'm saying the long board is longer than the short board, or the short board is shorter than the long board. But what this is saying here is addition. It's confusing because it's saying I gotta add 7 onto something and I don't know what the something is yet. Right? The first thing they're telling me is actually the last thing I want to write. So that's why we need to read the whole statement.
Excuse me, Phoenix. I need to have Isabella Gonzalez to the office, please, with her coat. Isabella, please go to the office with your coat. Thank you.
So Robert, how could I say the total length of 3 short boards?
I wrote LB equals 3 times SB plus 7.
Don't use 2 letters when 1 letter could work. So just use L and S, right? So, what did you say with the S, the short boards?
3 and then parenthesis S.
Yeah, you could use parentheses, or you could use a dot multiplication, or you could just write 3S. Because we know 3S would mean 3 times S, so you're right. But there are lots of ways you could write this.
So 3S plus 7.
Absolutely. Are there questions on how I got this expression? The long board is 3 short boards plus 7. That is what this statement says, just in a different way. The long board is 3 short boards and 7 more. That's why we're going over it. That longer than does not necessarily mean an inequality, which actually this would be longer than, right? That's not what that means. It means add on to. So then we could draw a picture, right? And that would help us make sense of it. Because now I could actually do this in here. S plus 7. Like that picture could work. I'm expecting you to have a picture on your paper. It could be as simple as this.
I just did a bunch of, I did 3 dashes for the super long line, and then put plus 7.
Yeah, or we could show the individual short boards. You could also do like that, right? You do a lot of things. Then, Phoebe, if one of the longboards is 50 inches long, where would I put my 50 inches in that equation that we built? You're all good. Mallory? What's 50? What they tell us 50 is? Skip it if you want to. It's totally fine. Eric? What is 50? Here, what's it tell us? It's the longboard. So if 50 is the longboard, sorry, I meant for this to be purple. Turn purple. It can replace the L. Guys, this on your paper, you want to say L is 50. We're going to replace the L with 50. This is why I had you draw a picture. On your picture, label this 50 long. Label that the longboard is 50 long. What could I cut off of the longboard to make it a bit easier to talk about, Peyton? 7. The 7. I can chop this off. Get out of here, 7. So if I subtract 7 from it, now my 3 short boards are how long? 43. And then, because we have 3 short boards, the math we're actually doing is 3s equals 43. And then we, exactly what somebody shouted out, we divide by 3 on both sides. It's going to be a weird length because, well, if you ever get into woodworking or anything, a lot of lengths aren't exact inches. I literally had to trim 3/16 off of a board the other day. That's a legit, it's not nothing, right? 3/16 made this cabinet not fit in the wall. So I took 3/16 off one side and 3/16 off the other side. And 6/16 is really 3/8, which is almost a half, right? It was almost half of an inch because I took it off both sides. So what's S? It's 12.3? 13 points? What is it? 13.3? 14? Ah, crap. Math is hard. Throwing around some sass. Try these. Chat with each other, work with your team, try these out.
Yeah, Sophia's writing down how many times she doesn't get called on.
Then use words to describe the relationship we see. Use words. So we're writing words. Oh, you could also add right here an equal sign. Because they say same number of cookies. You could add in an equal sign here. So talking to your team, we're writing down with words what we see here. In A, you could talk about short boards versus long boards, or just short and long. Right? There's 2 shorts and 10.
What does it do with the soft? No, I don't want to get the big one.
I think there
All
was
of
a
this
whole
is
bunch
so
of
sad.
a piece of paper over it or something. Yeah. What it is probably is gross. We probably like get her off there and write it down. Jonah? I would have already told Jonah that we like shared a name or something. It is not. I regret to disappoint you.
Is it James?
We are going to do math right now because this is math class, but no, nobody has gotten it yet. We are doing math. I am not answering anymore. So when I stop answering, when I stop saying yes or no, that doesn't mean you got my name. That means we're doing math. So we're over the name game. We're moving on. Let's be confused together. So, Zero, walk through this with me. On A, but you volunteered. You said I'm confused. So on A, what do we see on top? Give me more. Small thingies or big things? Both, right? We got small on top, big on bottom. So on top, I got how many small? Too small and
10
So,
other thingies.
yeah, too small and not inches. These aren't thingies, these are inches. I mean, anything can be a measurement, but they tell us inches here. So we have too small and, which actually, if you want to use like the and symbol, it looks a lot like a plus, so I kind of like the and symbol. Too small and 10 inches is equal to, or you could just say equals, too big.
Stop forgetting the thingies.
So I don't know if we could actually solve that out right now.
Yes, I swear.
So we might be able to like guess some options
Wait,
or plug in some
so 10
things.
minus 2 thingies. Wait, I don't even know.
Yeah, but we don't know the length of either the small or the big.
I apologize for the interruption. Could I please have Eli Jasinski to the office for just a moment? Eli, to the office for just a moment. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if we could actually. We might come back to problems like that. So, okay. So, I mean, but it wanted us to make it in words,
Okay.
right? It said then use words.
2 longboard minus 10. Wait, sorry. 2 short. 2s plus 10 equals 2 big things.
So, this is going to help you on your homework. So if you're carrying on a conversation and not paying attention, you probably want to. We're not doing the cookies right now, but I'm going to write, no, I'll write up here. So what Sophia just said is 2s plus 10 equals 2l, which is true. But the problem is, I don't know s or l. So this is what we call a 2-variable, that's not very complicated, right? 2-variable equation. 2-variable equations are pretty tough. I'm just going to be like straight up honest with you guys. This really can't be solved right now. We could rewrite it, we could move things around, we could do stuff, but until I know what the short board or the long board is, I can't really solve this. I could guess one of the numbers and plug it in and make it work, but unless I choose one of the lengths, I can't really solve this. There's nothing to solve right now. Chloe? When we get there. So Eric, I think I already called on you, but whatever. If you want to describe this, can you figure out how to describe this? Like with words. What's that? Yeah. If you are trying to walk from school to home. So this is kind of tough. I don't know if you have an answer yet. Daniel, are you with me? Taking a nap? If you're trying to walk from school to home and you walk straight there and it takes you 5 minutes versus if you walk to the elementary school first and then to your house and it takes you 6 minutes. What is 2 plus 4? 6. So one statement we could say here is 2 and 4 is longer than 5, right? But actually, this is a triangle, right? So there's actually a certain specific relationship. If we were trying to find area, but we don't really know what we're trying to find here.
Well, if you're doing perimeter on a triangle, what's the equation for perimeter?
Just add the sides up. Yeah, perimeters always add the sides up. So we can do 5 plus 2 plus 4. Yeah, you can make a few different statements here. I just care what did you see? 5 is less than 2 plus 4. Guys, this is something that you'll hear people say. Avery, you with me? You'll hear people say, like, straight line distance. But you can't always go the straight line distance. I cannot drive home the straight line distance. I would go through people's houses. So I have to drive on the roads and turn corners So it might only take me 5 minutes to get home if I drove straight there, but I can't, so it takes me longer, right? So you could say something like the straight 2 plus 4 is longer than the straight 5 there, or whatever you want to say. You could say different things. Are cookies here? Who just asked me if they can cookie? Chloe? Chloe, you want a cookie?
I think yes.
Okay, this one can be solved, so please do this with us. Chloe, start us off.
So, like, on the left picture, you see that there are 2 cookies out of the box. And then, so then I would assume that on the second picture, you just take out 2 cookies and then divide it by 2 because that gets you this size.
So wait, how many cookies were over here? Is this 20?
Yeah.
So what we could write out, and guys, I'm going to ask that you do this, even if you wrote it in words already, I'm going to ask that you write this in numbers because it's going to help us start thinking through this. 3 boxes. So let's all together, if you haven't done it, that's fine because we're doing it together. 3 boxes plus 2 extra cookies equals 1 box and 20 extra.
That's a lot.
So now Chloe said, if I get rid of these 2 cookies over here, I need to take away 2 cookies over here. Daniel? You figured this out? Nice. Well, hang on to it for a second because we don't want to spoil the movie. So now, guys, write it out like this because this is the next chapter, like where we're headed. And actually, I think it's part of the 5.3 stuff, but this is the next stuff we're doing, right? We had been doing percents, then we were doing probabilities, now we're doing equation work. So if I took those 2 cookies away, I have 3 boxes equals still the 1 box plus 18. What could I now take away from both sides and keep things still balanced? Daniel, what could I do next? I don't want the answer. What could I do next? Don't know? I'm curious how you found your answer, because your guys' brains all work differently, right? There are multiple ways to solve this. Ava? Not yet. You're right, we're going to. That's the right next step. You're just skipping the step I want to do first. Do you know what that step is? What? It's kind of. Mallory, was that a hand? No? Okay, back to Daniel. Why?
Because if there's only 1 box in, if there's 1 box in second one, and you take the 2 extra out, and have 18 elbows, those 18 elbows will go to the other box.
If I take this box away, I gotta take one of these boxes away. So what we write on our paper is we subtract 1 box from both sides. There's boxes of cookies on Mrs. Pettigrew's desk, just by the way. No, I saw them this morning and I almost took one. So now what we say is 2 boxes is equal to 18 cookies. Because we first got rid of the 2 extra cookies, but we had to do it from both sides. Then we got rid of the box from the right side and had to do it from the left side. And then we can now, because we have 2 boxes and want to talk about just 1, how do we go from 2 boxes to 1? Guys, give me your eyes for a second. This is the mistake you're going to try to make. And I would like to show it to you so you avoid it. Right now, my picture has turned into, guys, we're not doing a ton today. I decided to make Friday a bit easier and not move forward. What we have is 2 boxes is equal to 18 cookies. Now, what we're trying to get to is 1 box. The temptation is to say, well, take away one of the boxes. But can I take away a box over here? No. So if I take away a box over here, I end up with a negative box over here. And this doesn't make any sense. I cannot subtract the variable now because there's no variable over here. What I'm allowed to do
Divide by 2.
is cut this in half. So I say if I cut this group in half, split this up, I gotta split this up. And what's 18 when I split it up? Well, it's gonna be 9 and 9. So what we draw out on our paper, the work we show, there, is divide by 2, divide by 2. I would like you to write that down, please. And we get 1b. You can write the 1 or you don't have to.
My work is kind of scattered.
These better be some big cookies. There's only 9 in a box. I feel like these are like tag-alongs. Whoever buys tag-alongs from the Girl Scouts,
Those are the
how many
best
cookies
ones.
are in that box?
Not my family.
There's only 15.
Bro.
Because they're good, but there's only 15
The
cookies.
peanut butter ones, right?
Yeah, they're the peanut butter ones.
Bro.
Mallory,
You freeze them.
homework? It's exactly what I was about to do next. You read my mind. Pull out 526 because it's due today.
Wait. Oh, I just wait.
And then we can look at 531 if you guys have already started those problems. Yeah?
Is there another way that you can solve that? Because I'm seriously confused. You called on.
Not really, but we're going to do a whole lot more of these. This is just our intro. It's like next week I will probably have like manipulatives for us to do this with and practice and everything. This is just an intro. That's also why I'm not making 531 due today. Yeah, 531 is not due today. Also, just gave it to you yesterday. What do you, I don't. You what?
Called on 13 people that weren't me and called on me 0 times.
CX 0, Caitlin, Angel, Peyton. There you are.
Yeah.
You're in here.
You could have used the random cards.
I did. Well, okay. I guess you're right. I could have used more. There were a couple times where I picked on
Like the
people.
last 3 problems. I could have answered.
I can't do anything right.
Nope.
I just can't do anything right. All right, 526 is due today. We talked about it yesterday, but does anyone have any remaining questions from 526? Like how you extended just 2 points in 90? Remember in number 90, we extended just 2 points to make the area turn into 32. I am expecting work for those area problems. The front of this doesn't need to be completed, but if you, I should have told you guys to do it once I showed you the secret. If you wanted to complete the front of the paper, the trick, and it kind of was a trick, but it wasn't my fault. You guys assumed. The trick was that this spinner was broken up secretively weird, right? So if you wanted to write down the stuff from what we did in class, that's why that one was kind of tricky. Any other questions? 5260. Mallory. 86, absolutely. Ha, 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 ha.
You sound like a Minecraft villager. Wait, what? I'm being made fun of.
No, I'm being made fun of. It's not you, it's me. Hey, so we did this like this, or at least what I showed was like this, but there's another, in my opinion, kind of better way. So, what, large stuffed animal was green, I might as well write in green. So they want that to be 10%, but I'm going to start with knowing that 110 blocks, and guys, we're going to continue doing this stuff next chapter, so more practice with this is better. 110 blocks is 100%. How can I go from 100% to 10%? Divide by 10. When we do that on top, we get 11 green. Now I could actually use part B to get part A. Because if 11 green is 10%, how could I take that and calculate the 60% of blue? Multiply by 6, because on the bottom to go from 10% to 60%. And that's actually how I could get my answer for 66 blue. Questions? 0. Words? 10% method. Exactly what I just showed. Except instead of starting with 100%, they start us with 70. So if you're squinting, you might need to get glasses because you're not that far away. They give us $245 is 70. You guys, again, if you just have answers, I'm turning into a stickler at this point because I need to know that you know how to do these things. It hasn't been as critical, but I only have 4 months left with you guys. Like February, March, April, May doesn't even really count. Guys, I really have like 3 months left with you. I gotta make sure you know how to do this stuff. So when we set up a proportion, it's 2 different values. The fact that I have chosen dollars to be on top means it will stay on top. It will always be on top. Percent on bottom, same story. It's going to stay on bottom. So 245 is 70%. They tell us that. So I set up my proportion like this. I then get to 10% by dividing by 7. We do the same on top. Use a calculator. Then, how do I go from 10% to 100%? Multiply by 10. If you don't have 531 done, you could be doing it right now. Mallory. 88. Thank you for asking this because we haven't practiced many of these problems. So yeah, thank you for... This is our compound probability. To do our compound probability, there are 2 events happening, right? So if he reaches into the refrigerator to get a yogurt, specifically yogurt, without looking, what is the probability Lucas will choose raspberry yogurt? Well, 5 containers total. 3 of them are raspberry. So if we're just looking at the raspberry yogurt, it's 3/5. If we look at the probability of choosing a red apple, there are 5 apples. 3 of them are red, so my probability of red apple is also 3/5. Here's where we take it back to our lesson where we talked about the tetras and the guppies. If we remember doing the fish tank, our tetras and our guppies. What's the chance of getting a tetra? What's the chance of getting silver? Because we wanted a silver tetra. And we multiply the fractions together. So here, in part C, what I should see set up on your paper is 3/5 times 3/5, cross the top, cross the bottom, 9/25. Mallory, did that help? So you take the probability of thing 1 and multiply by the probability of thing 2. Oh, thing 1 and thing 2? Yes. No, because I don't even have it printed. If you give me till math lunch, I might be able to get it printed out. Monday. Because, well, I'll take questions from that next. Well, how long do we have? Oh, 0 minutes. We got to get out of here. It is time to go. So come to math lunch. If you got more questions for me, you are formally invited to math lunch. Have a wonderful day, friends. Since you what?
Since I was a rainbow fish. Yeah,
Since you...
too? Yeah, because we did make that bet. It was like a...
You kind of did. Who else was the rainbow fish?
Mars.
Mars? Who's Mars?
Green
I thought that was Nina. Hey, Mars, come here. Now we got to use up the lifesavers though.
For what?
Because you guys were rainbow fish yesterday, and you won the bet. You swam against the current. Were you also? Yeah, you were part of that team too. I'm too soft when you guys ask me for candy.
I was definitely sure.
For real? No one likes a liar.
Mr. Hudson, you should give me candy since I'm in your advisory.
Well, that's no. Then I gotta get it. Then I got 13 people I gotta give candy to. Wait, what? The Worthington or the Columbus? That's awesome. Maybe I'll try to get down there. I think it's free one day a week.
It's free.
Is it?
Free all the time.
Is it? I think they got some sort of government grant for that because it used to cost money, but I'm glad it's free all the time now.
I